Chosen One, stop everything you are doing right now. Not because this is just another video, not because someone told you to watch this, but because deep in your spirit, something already told you this moment was coming. You felt it before you even pressed play. That feeling, that quiet knowing, that unexplainable pull towards something greater than what your eyes can see, that is not coincidence. That is confirmation. And what you are about to hear in the next few minutes has been waiting for you longer than you realize. So stay with me, because if you leave this video early, you will miss the one thing your soul has been searching for through every storm, every silence, and every season that tried to break you. There is a reason you are hearing this today, not tomorrow, not last year, today. The timing of this moment is not accidental. Nothing about your life has been accidental. Not the hard parts, not the painful chapters, not the nights when the silence around you was so loud it felt like the whole world had gone deaf to your pain. All of it, every single piece of it, has been arranged, ordered, purposefully designed. And that might sound impossible to believe right now, especially if you are sitting somewhere in the middle of a season that still makes no sense to you. But, Chosen One, the story you are living is not finished, and the parts that confused you the most are about to become the very parts that change you the most. You may have noticed that you are different, not in the way people say to be polite. Genuinely, deeply, unmistakably different. You walk into a room and you feel things that no one around you seems to feel. You see beneath the surface of situations while others only react to what's visible. You carry weight that was never explained to you, and pain that never had a simple source. You have always been someone who thinks in layers, who feels in waves, who moves through life with a kind of quiet depth that most people have never been able to fully understand. And because of that, many of them have misread you. Some have underestimated you. Some have dismissed you. Some have even spoken about you as though they had you all figured out. But what they said about you, what they thought about you, what they whispered about you, none of it could contain who you actually are. Type yes if you have ever felt completely misunderstood by the people closest to you. Because here is something you need to understand about the way chosen ones move through the world. The depth you carry is threatening to people who have never been willing to go that deep themselves. Your silence speaks louder than most people's words. And what you say when you finally choose to speak does not just land on the surface. It cuts. It reaches somewhere real and raw inside of people. It touches the parts of them they thought they had hidden away forever. That is why they talk about you. That is why your name comes up in rooms you never entered. That is why the things you said, maybe casually, maybe quietly, maybe in a moment when you were just being honest, sliced right through them in a way they were not prepared for. You were not trying to wound them. You were simply speaking truth. And truth in the hands of a chosen one is one of the sharpest things in the universe. This is your confirmation. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to move through life the way everyone else does, chasing the same things, celebrating the same milestones, measuring your worth by the same shallow standards the world uses to grade human beings. From the very beginning, long before you had the language to describe it, you were set apart. And being set apart is never comfortable. It is isolating, it is confusing, it is exhausting in a way that sleep cannot always fix. Because being set apart means you will often stand alone in places where others stand together. It means you will understand things that take other people years to learn, and that gift will sometimes feel like a burden because no one around you will be ready for what you already see. Listen carefully. The isolation you have felt in this season is not punishment, it is preparation. God does not prepare ordinary vessels for extraordinary purposes. He prepares chosen ones. And the preparation always happens in the quiet, in the private, in the unseen places where no audience is watching and no applause is given. The very place where you felt most alone, the very season where it felt like the world moved on without you, was the exact place God was doing the deepest, most transformational work inside of you. That work is not visible yet, but it is real, and it is almost complete. Comment Amen if you believe God is still working on your behalf, even in the middle of your silence. You may have wondered, at some point, why your path has looked so different from everyone else's. Why the things that seemed to come easily for others required a completely different kind of fight from you. Why your breakthrough kept getting delayed while people who started after you seemed to move ahead. I need you to understand something about that. Your path is not slower, it is deeper. The roots God is building inside of you go further down than the roots of people whose season came faster. And when the winds of life come, and they will come for everyone, the one with the deepest roots is the one who does not fall. You were never behind. You were always being prepared differently for something that required more from you because more was placed inside you. God has been preparing you in ways you still cannot fully articulate. He has been using every heartbreak as a classroom, every betrayal as a boundary lesson, every delay as a redirection, every dry season as a detoxification, clearing out everything and everyone that was never meant to enter your next chapter with you. The people who left were not accidents. The doors that closed were not failures. The plans that fell apart were not punishment. They were protection. They were divine rearrangement. And the reason you survived all of it, the reason you are still here, still searching, still watching this message today, is because something inside you has never been able to fully give up, even when your mind told you to. That unbreakable flicker inside you, that tiny persistent flame, is not your personality. It is your calling refusing to let you quit before your time. Type 777 if you trust that God's timing is greater than your own understanding. Now I need to talk to you about the words. Because this title, what you said was so deep it sliced right through them, is not describing a casual moment. It is describing something specific that has happened in your life. There have been moments, maybe many of them, when you opened your mouth and what came out of you was not entirely from you. It was heavier than a sentence. It was truer than an opinion. It arrived with a kind of weight that surprised even you sometimes, because you did not plan it, you did not rehearse it. It simply came through you like water through a pipe, and the people who heard it were not just impacted. They were cut. They were cracked open. Something in what you said reached inside of them and rearranged something they had been protecting for years. That is not normal conversation. That is anointing. That is what happens when God has placed something inside a vessel that is so full of authentic truth and spiritual depth that it cannot come out without leaving a mark. Chosen one, you have been carrying a voice that you have not yet fully understood, a perspective that cuts through pretense, a wisdom that did not come from school or from years of study, but from the crucible of your own life, your own suffering, your own surviving. The things you have been through gave you access to a kind of truth that people who have lived comfortable lives simply do not carry. And every time you speak from that place, from the place of what you have actually lived and survived, it lands differently. It hits differently. It stays with people long after the conversation is over. This is not random. The fact that people talk about you is not gossip. It is recognition. Even when the conversation is not flattering, even when it comes in the form of criticism or confusion, people are talking about you because you cannot be ignored. You are not designed to blend in. You were designed to stand out in a way that shifts the spiritual atmosphere of every room you enter. Some people feel that, and it draws them to you. Others feel it, and it unsettles them, because your presence holds a mirror up to parts of themselves they are not ready to look at. Either way, you leave an impression. Either way, you are remembered. And that is not arrogance. That is assignment. To type 1111, to affirm that you are stepping into the fullness of who God created you to be. But I want to sit with you in the harder parts of this for a moment. Because, chosen one, the path of someone who carries this kind of depth is not always beautiful. Sometimes it is brutally lonely. Sometimes the very sensitivity that makes you spiritually sharp also makes you emotionally vulnerable in ways that are genuinely painful. You feel the energy of rooms. You sense the unspoken tension between people. You absorb other people's emotions so deeply that you sometimes cannot tell where their feelings end and yours begin. You carry grief that was never fully yours. You have mourned things that the people around you had already moved past. You have stayed awake at 3 in the morning wrestling with questions that most people never ask, because most people are content living on the surface. And in those moments of depth and darkness and exhausted wondering, there have been attacks. Spiritual attacks that arrived dressed as negative thoughts, as sudden waves of hopelessness, as voices that said you were too much, or not enough, or that your best days were already behind you. Those attacks were not random either. You are attacked because you are a threat. You are targeted because your potential terrifies the forces that are opposed to your purpose. Nobody sends arrows at empty houses. Nobody wages war against things that don't matter. The fact that you have faced opposition, both seen and unseen, is not proof that you are cursed. It is proof that you carry something worth fighting over. And the one who placed that something inside of you is far greater than anything that has ever come against you. Even in your hardest moments, you have been protected in ways you did not always see. There were near misses. There were situations that should have destroyed you, and somehow did not. There were people who meant to harm you, and found that they could not get as close as they intended. There were seasons that should have broken you all the way through, and instead only bent you. And the bending turned out to be God reshaping you into a form that could carry more than the original shape could hold. You have been guarded. You have been covered. And even in the moments when it felt like no one was fighting for you, there was a heavenly assignment on your life that would not allow you to be fully consumed. Comment chosen if you believe God has been protecting you even when you could not see it. There is something that happens to people who have been through what you have been through. Something quiet and profound and irreversible. They develop a kind of knowing that cannot be taught. A discernment that goes beyond logic. A sensitivity to truth that makes them almost allergic to anything false or performative or hollow. You have developed that knowing. You have earned it through your pain, through your patience, through your willingness to keep seeking, even when every answer seemed to lead to another question. And that knowing is what makes the words that come out of you so precise, so unavoidable, so deeply capable of reaching places in people that they didn't know were reachable. This is your confirmation. What others said about you was not a verdict. It was not a definition. What they said, whether it was in admiration or in jealousy, whether it was in wonder or in fear, was simply the sound of people encountering something in you that they did not have the vocabulary for. They talked about you because you gave them something to think about that they could not easily dismiss. They replayed what you said because it stayed. It echoed. It worked its way into the quiet places of their thinking and refused to leave. And that chosen one is the most powerful kind of impact there is. Not the loud, flashy kind that fades the moment the spotlight moves, but the deep, quiet, lasting kind that changes the way someone sees themselves or the world around them long after they have walked away from you. Type 222 if you are ready for your breakthrough to arrive in this season. I want to talk to you now about something that you may have been afraid to fully acknowledge, even to yourself. You are spiritually awakened. I don't mean that in a vague or mystical sense. I mean it in the most personal and practical way possible. You see what others miss. You feel what others dismiss. You know things before they are confirmed by evidence. You have a relationship with your intuition that goes deeper than instinct, because what you are sensing is not always coming from your mind. It is coming from something connected to you that is larger than your mind. You have been tuned to a frequency that not everyone can access, and that frequency has been informing your choices, warning you of danger, guiding you towards certain people and away from others for a long time now. You may have called it a gut feeling. You may have called it overthinking. But chosen one, it was never overthinking. It was the voice of God speaking to you through your own spirit. And that voice, that inner knowing, has sometimes led you to say things that were not convenient for other people to hear. It has led you to ask questions that made people uncomfortable. It has led you to see through situations that everyone else around you was willing to accept at face value. It has led you to speak truth into places where everyone else was comfortable with the lie. And that, more than almost anything else about you, is what has made you stand out in ways that have drawn both admiration and opposition. Because truth, spoken with genuine depth and without apology, always divides. It always sorts. It always reveals what was already there, hidden beneath the performance, beneath the pleasantries, beneath the careful presentation that people offer the world when they are not ready to be seen. Your words cut through all of that, not because you are cruel, but because you are clear. And clarity is a rare and powerful thing in a world that has grown very comfortable with vagueness. Nothing about your life has been accidental. Let that settle into you for a moment. Every encounter, every heartbreak, every open door, every closed door, every inexplicable season of waiting, every sudden shift that you didn't see coming, every relationship that formed and every one that dissolved, all of it has been moving you in a direction. Not randomly, not chaotically, but with a precision that you are only beginning to see clearly now. The path you have been walking has had a destination from the beginning, and the winding nature of it, the detours, the setbacks, the long stretches of road where nothing seemed to be happening, were never signs that you were lost. They were signs that the route required more preparation than a straight line could provide. Like this video, if you feel that this message is speaking directly into your spirit right now, God has been preparing you, chosen one, for an assignment that your former self could not have carried. The person you were 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even 1 year ago, did not yet have what this next season requires. And so instead of handing you the assignment before you were ready, God did what any master craftsman does. He spent time on you. He worked on the inside of you in the places no one could see. He deepened your compassion by walking you through your own suffering. He sharpened your discernment by letting you be deceived, so you would learn to recognize deception. He built your faith by taking you through the places where only faith could sustain you. He gave you a voice by first teaching you the weight of silence. Everything was deliberate. Everything was intentional. You were never forgotten. You were always being formed. And now, in this season, the formation is shifting. The preparation is giving way to the release. The waiting is making way for the walking. Things are beginning to move that were still for a very long time. Doors are beginning to open that looked permanently sealed. People are entering your life who carry the same frequency you carry, who speak the same language of depth and purpose and spiritual hunger. Opportunities are beginning to surface that are perfectly shaped for the exact set of gifts and experiences that your journey has produced in you. This is not wishful thinking. This is the pattern of God's economy. The seed is always planted before the harvest. The preparation always comes before the release. And the fact that you have been in deep preparation for this long is not a sign of neglect. It is a sign of the magnitude of what is coming. Type yes if you feel in your spirit that a shift is already beginning in your life. I want to speak now to the version of you that is still carrying wounds. The version of you that has not quite healed from certain betrayals, certain losses, certain words that were said about you or to you that left marks deeper than anyone around you ever realized. I see you. And more importantly, the one who created you sees you. Those wounds are real. The pain you carry is not imagined. The grief you have moved through, some of it silently, some of it alone, was not small. It was massive. And you deserve to have that acknowledged. You deserve to hear someone say that what you went through was genuinely hard, and that the fact that you are still here, still functional, still searching for meaning and purpose and connection is a kind of miracle in and of itself. But chosen one, Your wounds are not your identity. They are your history, and there is a difference. Your history informs you. Your wounds teach you. Your pain shapes you. But none of it defines the ceiling of what you are capable of, or the depth of the love available to you, or the width of the purpose waiting to unfold through your life. The things that tried to break you became the things that built you. Every place you were cracked is a place where light can now enter and leave. Every scar is a chapter of survival. Every wound that has healed, even imperfectly, has left behind a layer of strength that would not exist if the wound had never come. Comment here, led, if you are choosing today to stop letting your past have permission to speak louder than your purpose. You were never ordinary. I need you to hear that again, not as a motivational line, but as a spiritual truth about who you actually are. From before your first breath, something was placed inside of you. A combination of gifts, perspectives, sensitivities, and capacities that is completely unique to you. There is no one on this earth who sees the world exactly the way you see it. No one who carries the exact combination of what you have lived through, what you have felt, what you have survived, and what you carry as a result. You are the only version of you that has ever existed or will ever exist. And that means the contribution only you can make to this world is not replaceable. It is not optional. It is needed. And the world is waiting for it. Even if the world does not yet know how to ask for it, the depth you carry is going to keep finding its way out of you. Not because you will force it, but because it cannot be contained. It is already escaping through your words, through the way you listen to people, through the questions you ask, through the comfort you offer in moments when others don't know what to say. People have already been changed by being in your presence, and you may not even fully know which ones. The impact of a chosen one is rarely announced loudly. It moves quietly, the way water moves through stone over time. Not crashing, not dramatic, just consistent and unstoppable, and ultimately reshaping everything it touches. Type 777 again if you feel in your spirit that your best chapter is still ahead of you. And now I want to bring you to the part of this message that I have been building toward since the very first sentence. Because there is something that is about to happen for you, not eventually, not someday in a distant, vague future. In this season, in the coming days and weeks and months, something is beginning to shift in the spiritual realm around your life. Assignments are being cancelled. Delays are being lifted. The weight that you have been carrying, that inexplicable heaviness that has sometimes made it hard to breathe, hard to hope, hard to believe, is beginning to lift. The atmosphere around you is beginning to change in ways you will soon be able to feel even before you can see the evidence with your eyes. God is rerouting things in your favor. He is realigning people, timing, resources and revelations in a way that is specifically designed to match the assignment He placed in you before you were born. And the reason this is happening now, after so long, after so much waiting, is not that God forgot and suddenly remembered. It is that the preparation is complete. The roots are deep enough now. The foundation is strong enough. The vessel has been refined enough to hold what is about to be poured into it. You are ready for what is coming, not because life becomes easy from here, but because you have finally become someone who can handle it and still remain true to who God called you to be. This is not random. This moment, right now, you hearing these words, is not an accident. There are no accidents in the life of a chosen one. Even this, even a video playing on a screen, even the quiet stirring in your chest as you listen, is part of the arrangement. God speaks in many ways. And one of those ways is through moments of confirmation that reach you exactly when you need them most. Exactly when the doubt has grown a little too loud, exactly when the silence has lasted a little too long, exactly when your spirit was quietly asking, does any of this mean anything? Am I seen? Does God still have a plan for me? Yes, He does. And this message is the answer arriving right on time. Type Amen if you receive this confirmation in your spirit today. Let me speak one more time to the people who have talked about you, who have discussed your words, who have carried what you said into their private spaces and turned it over in their minds long after the moment was gone. Those people are not your enemies. Most of them are simply people who encountered something in you that they were not expecting, and they didn't know how to process it, so they processed it by talking. Some of them will eventually come back around. Some of them will find their way to a place of genuine appreciation for the depth you carry. Some of them will one day tell you that what you said to them changed something in them, opened something, cracked something open that needed to be cracked. And some of them will never say it out loud, but they will carry it. They will live differently because of it. And that invisible impact, the kind that works silently in the hearts of people who may never give you the credit, is the most faithful kind of fruit a chosen one can bear. You are not too much. You are not too deep. You are not too sensitive. You are not too intense. You are not too difficult to understand. You are exactly as much as God intended when He was designing you. And the people who are meant to receive what you carry will find you. They will recognize you. They will not be intimidated by your depth. They will be drawn to it. They will not be threatened by your truth. They will be nourished by it. They will not try to flatten you into something more manageable. They will celebrate the full height of who you are. Those people are coming. Some of them are already closer than you think. And you, chosen one, are worth the wait for the ones who are still on their way. Nothing about your life has been accidental. And nothing about where your life is going is accidental either. The path ahead of you is not a mystery to the one who laid it out. Every step has been accounted for. Every valley has an exit. Every mountain has a summit. And every quiet, dark season, including this one if you are in one right now, has a morning on the other side of it that is going to make everything that came before it make sense. Not just tolerable, not just survivable, actually make sense. The kind of sense that makes you catch your breath and say, I understand now. I understand why it had to be that way. I understand why it took that long. I understand what all of that was building me toward. That moment of understanding is coming for you. Type 111 111 one more time to declare that you trust the path, even when you cannot see around the next corner. You are chosen. You are called. You are seen. You are protected. You are deeply, specifically, personally loved by the one who made you. Your voice carries weight. Your presence carries power. Your story carries purpose. Your pain was never wasted. Your waiting was never pointless. Your tears were never ignored. Everything you have poured out in the private, in the quiet, in the dark hours when no one was watching, was received, was counted, was honored. And the return on that investment is on its way to you with a precision and a fullness that is going to exceed what you asked for and surpass what you imagined. So keep going. Keep speaking when the Spirit moves you to speak. Keep showing up, even when you cannot see the full picture. Keep trusting that the depth in you is not a burden to be managed, but a gift to be released. Keep believing that the things said about you, both the difficult things and the ones that recognized your depth, are only scratching the surface of who you are becoming. The full revelation of what you carry, the full bloom of your purpose, the full manifestation of everything God placed inside you before you were born, is still unfolding, and the best of it, chosen one, is still ahead. You are not at the end of your story. You are at the beginning of the part that finally makes sense of everything that came before it. The deepest chapters are still unwritten. The greatest impact is still unmade. The loudest testimony is still waiting to be lived. And you, with every scar and every gift and every layer of depth that makes you who you are the exact person God has chosen to live it. This is your confirmation. Receive it fully. Walk in it completely. And never again question whether you were made for something meaningful, because you were. You always were. And the world, chosen one, is about to find out.